Okay, Jason Moomall, Jay on the Fly. I want to talk to you about this March Brown Natural, also part of my nymph box. Another fly that you wouldn't want to do without early throughout spring until the March Browns hatch sometime in late March. But before that, the nymphs are very predominant, especially in the Pine Creek. It's one of them that one of the areas I fish a lot and float a lot. The March Brown nymph, and I'm going to zoom in on this. The March Brown here that I have is a lot more yellow than you may see a lot of ties, and that's because they are more yellow in the Pine Creek than they are in a lot of other creeks. And again, I'm going to see if I can get this thing into a good spot where we can get it in clear and centered in the camera. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I want to turn this baby here so you can kind of see it. And I'll put my hand behind it so you can see that really good. Beautiful little nymph. And again, I tie it with a black case because we're trying to imitate these things with the adults are ready to hatch, so that's why we use the black wing case, or that's the way I tie them. And that's when they're the most mobile and the most vulnerable. Again, I got a Tiemco 100 size 12 hook because these nymphs are big nymphs. They're about a half of an inch. The whole body is about a half an inch on average, and that's pretty much what you get out of a size 12 when you're tying this natural pattern. So, of course, I tie them 14s and 16s as well. Imitate maybe some of the gray fox, but basically the main part on the bigger rivers, like the Pine, during the main hatch, is going to be a size 12. Biot. Using some turkey biot in kind of an off brown color or camel, or I'm not sure exactly what color you call it. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to take them 3 biots. You can see them in my fingers. We got 3 biots. I'm going to take them and I'm just going to lay them right on the shank. I'm going to kind of pinch them so they're around the shank. Do a couple wraps and you can see how they splay almost automatically. See, I'm not going to get too crazy with what happened. I don't really care how they splay. It's just that they do splay, and that's why I laid them across there. So you can see they're nice and splayed out. If I turn that around different ways, you can see that they're splayed. I don't know why this is so on my shirt right now. Something with the focus, but I want to get a clear view of this. Again, for some reason this thing's picking up my shirt. Anyway, we're going to go with dubbing. We're going to go actually with medium black wire. That's the next thing, medium black wire. Let me get some light on this thing. Maybe that'll help. Okay, medium black wire. And we're going to tie that in right there on, just like that, and tie that back. Get that tied in. Again, if you could see that, we're tying a piece of wire in, and I apologize for this thing not being clear. It really, really ticks me off. Once I get some color on here, or contrast, probably when I get this dubbing on, then it'll be clear again. So let me just stick with this. And again, I'm going to wrap this on. I'm going to put a nice, and this dubbing here is just something, I mean, it's basically like a March Brown, but I add more yellow to it. And again, our March Browns on the Pine have a lot more yellow in than maybe other patterns that you would see out west. But it makes for a really neat tie. And again, just the typical March Brown abdomen, where you have the tan or this more yellow type of color. And then I take a turkey feather and I lacquer it, and then I cut out sections, and that's what this is. And I'm going to use that for a wing case. And I'm fold this right over the top. One of the nice things about this is is kind of an all natural type of tie. I'm going to go with a darker dubbing, yellow dubbing, and this is more of a mustardy type of color, and that's because I want my abdomen to be just a little darker than, or my thorax to be a little darker than my abdomen. I'm going to lay that right in there, and we are going to build up a nice heavy thorax. I'm going to grab Indian henback. I like that light olive color. It's kind of a light olive yellow type of color. Really a nice look on that. In fact, I could even made the tail that color. I have that turkey by it, but like I said, it doesn't really matter. Fish aren't looking at every little thing. In fact, they look less at the stuff than people give them way more credit than what they deserve. Again, I'm going to fold that wing case right over the top, and we're going to tie that down. We'll lift up, or we're going to cut that off, and again, just finish with a whip finish. And that pretty much is the March Brown fly, March Brown nymph. And probably one extra step that you would want to take, you see how that looks right there? We're going to just take a black marker. I'm going to come right over the top, and I am going to darken that because we are fishing the nymphs that are about to hatch. And the nymphs that are about to hatch will have black wing cases. And you can see how pretty that thing is. And that is it. That is the March Brown. There's one I use for the Pine Creek the most in the more yellow color. But of course you can get March Brown dubbing anywhere. This is the JM March Brown Natural. JM on the fly. And I am out of here.